Hi, I'm Jeremy. Welcome to Steampunk Power-Ups. Today we are taking a look at how to make a map for your class game or any kind of map really using Google Sheets. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I've got a map here that I have set up using Google Sheets, and I've used a combination of resources. I used a map resource from a curriculum website called EMC2 Learning. They're a great curriculum website. I would highly recommend checking them out. To get all of my terrain tiles here and put those into the Google Sheet. And then I have also looked up and found some images of buildings on my own. These are all from like Age of Empires type games and PNGs there. So what I did in order to do this, first I got my Uncharted Territories resource from EMC2 Learning. I got the square map tile one, and it's got all these little different map tiles here. And what I've done is I've just taken each of those and put them into a square formatted Google drawing. And then from there, I can insert those images into my map. Now, I know a lot of you are not going to be able to use the EMC2 resources if you're not a member of that site. So what I wanted to do was take a few minutes today and show how you could maybe use a similar methodology and create a map on your own even without that resource. So we're going to go ahead and start here with a blank Google Sheet. And what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want each of these cells formatted as a square or pretty close to a square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little box in the top left-hand corner here. And then I am going to resize the rows here. So I'm going to deselect the columns and have it so it's just selected to rows. And I'm going to resize these selected rows. Now a column automatically is set with a width of 100. So I'm going to set the height to 100. So this would be a square. Okay. Now, something I've noticed as I've been doing this little Google drawing trick here is I was ending up with a gap on the right side or on the sides of the columns. So I actually decided to resize so it's not quite a square, and I resized the columns to 99. Okay, so it's 100 by 99. And when I do that, when I go to insert my images here, and let's see if there's any in here because I threw some in here earlier. Right, when I go to insert my images, then they fit in the squares really nicely. Now the other thing I like to do is I like to have just a nice black background. So if the image is having trouble loading for some reason, you just have black, empty, dark space. Okay, so you can see already I threw some images in here already. There we go. There's some of them there. And I want to show you how I got those. So I just did a web search. I know I'm doing a fantasy map, a fantasy world, but I know a lot of you are doing maybe like superhero theme or different kinds of themes, and you can use maps for all of those different things. So what I went ahead and did is I just did a Google image search for different terrains, and you can get and I just made sure to put the keyword square in there. And so I got these different square terrain map options. Okay, and so then I found one I liked because I wanted to go with a city one for our little practice one. And so if I want to use this image then in my squares for my Google drawing, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and right click and I'll go ahead and copy image address there. And then let's see, and I got a blank one here. And I'm going to go ahead and open up a Google drawing. And again, we'll just pause for dramatic effect for a second. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to format that Google drawing on my setup here. Let me move myself. I'm going to format my Google drawing. And I'm going to go to page setup, and I want that to be set to a 4x4 square. Really, you could probably do any size square, but I find 4x4 works pretty good. So, okay, so I got that formatted correctly there. And then once I've done that, now I can go ahead. I copied that image address from this tab over here. All right, I copied that image address. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that image now. I'm going to go ahead and insert image, and I'm going to go by URL and paste. You could also click and drag it over, but I just recording and running all these tabs at the same time. I didn't know if that would be smoother or if inserting it by URL would be smoother. Looks like clicking and dragging might end up being smoother, so we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. Let's click and drag it. Ready? There's more than one way, so I'm going to go ahead and just click and drag it over here. It's creating image, There we go. It's hard to tell sometimes. What are you going to do? Okay, so then once I've got my image here, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to crop this down, right? So I can either click the crop tool right here, or I can double click it so I get these little black lines, and then I can crop it down here. Crop it down to just the square that I want. Nice little tip with the arrow keys is you can hit Control and Shift and get that to get a little bit finer movements there. And I can increase it to the size of my square. Now I didn't crop it perfectly, right? And I'm not going to spend the time to go through and adjust and finally tweak it. But you can see here, after I've got it cropped, what's kind of cool is if I go to make a copy of this Google drawing, I can then shift this around, since this whole image tile plane was kind of all the tiles already put together. I can go ahead and shift this around, and I can, by shifting it around, get all of these different combinations of roads and buildings and things. Okay, so let me show you how then we can get one of these to our Google drawing, okay, or to our map. Right, so you can see here I've got my road piece, I've got my map piece, my map tile that I want to use. And so if I want to move this into my map, there's two ways I can do it, and I'll show you both at different times in the video here. I can either publish it to the web and take that link and insert the image into the Google Sheet by its URL, or I can just download it as a JPEG image. And then after I've downloaded it as a JPEG image, I can close that. I can go to my Google Sheet here, and I can go Insert, I can go Image, and I go In Cell, right? Drawings, if you insert them over cells, can tend to get moved around in a Google Sheet. So if you insert it in a cell, it sticks in its spot pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and upload from a computer. If I wanted to do it by its URL, I could go by URL as well. So I'll go ahead and browse. And I just downloaded that road piece. So I'll go ahead and click that one there. And up it comes here. And there we go, there's my road piece. Now what's nice about this is once they're in there, I can copy and paste them really nicely, right? And I don't need to reinsert them, right? Because probably with most things like a road or a square piece here, I'm going to reuse those components multiple times, right? So like for this road, if I want to make my road here, I can see, like, I can just copy those pieces in, right, and I can make my building however I want it to be there. And I was off camera was very attentive and like making sure that I got all these pieces to line up really clearly and nicely. Oh, actually, I'm missing one. Here. Let's see. I'm missing my up and down road piece. This one. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and show you the publish to web way. So if I want, I can go File, Publish to Web. And I can get that link there, and there'll normally be a publish when this is already published to the web. All right, and I'll get that URL there, and I'll go Insert, Image, in Cell. And this time I'm going to click by URL and paste that link, that publish link right in there, and insert that image. And now I've got my little road piece. And then again, what's nice is you can click and drag down your image to copy it to more cells. So then really quickly it becomes pretty easy to start to build out your map, because you can just click this little blue square in the corner, build out your pieces, can delete and do everything the way you want to on there. Okay, so now let's say that we wanted to insert a building. I've got a couple of building tiles here, and I'd like to show you how I inserted those. Right, so maybe I want to put some buildings in there. So what I did to get to the buildings, right, is I did the same thing. I took one of my tiles that I already had made, right? I had cropped and I'd done all those little components, and I I took one of those and I wanted to get a couple, these are called PNGs. When you have an image that's got a transparent background, it's called a PNG. So I wanted to put a couple of those on there. So what I did is I just did a little Google search for Age of Empire skyscrapers, and then found some with this nice transparent background there. A nice little tool you could also do is do the tools and color and then transparent background. It's another nice little trick there. And then I can literally just click and drag, or I could do paste by URL your image into your file. I'm gonna put these back where they were though. Okay, and then I'll do the same trick, right? I'll download the image, or I'll publish the image and then put it into my Google Sheet here. Something else you can do, you can merge your cells to make any of those particular bigger, right? So now I've got this nice bigger buildings there. And you could also add links in here to make a your map do things, right? So my game plan is to combine this map process with the Google Forms buildings video that I shared a while back. And so I want my students to be able to click these map tiles and do things. So you can see here, I've got a way you can link that. And so the way you can do that is by combining both the hyperlink and image commands on Google Sheet. So what you do is you do equals and hyperlink with, in parentheses, the URL you want to go to. So I went ahead and did the URL to my buildings YouTube video here, and then the image that you want. So if I wanted to do this, what I would do is for my skyscrapers, I go File, Publish to the web, and I click and I copy this link here. And then that link is what I would put right here in the little images tab, which is, should be the one that's already there. Okay, and so then I could click on this and click on the video and go there, or whatever. If you maybe won't have a slide that you want to go to on my fantasy map, right here, I've got a link to a slide on this one that I've already put in here, right? So you click it and then it shows like what the inside of the building would look like, and it would open up in a new tab. So I will go ahead and put this started little map for you in the description, as well as these tiles in there. And then for these starting tiles that I've made, I'll put copy links. Maybe I'll just take this column and make it white and put the copy links in there, so you can have copies of those and insert them and do what you want with them if you want to use those as well. So that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Go out and make something awesome.